Before we dive into today's edition of Vikings Now by Chat Sports, help us reach 22,000 subscribers here on the channel. We only need 140 more people. So if you guys are new here and haven't hit that sub button, help us out, lock us in as your go-to Vikings YouTube channel, and let's dive into today's show. My name is Patrick Siepman, and welcome in. We have a fun show for you guys planned today. We're going to be looking at 5 QB targets that can be quarterback one for the Vikings next season. I do think there are some question marks, obviously, with Kirk Cousins not having a deal going into next year. It's going to be interesting to see, will they go draft? Will they try to trade a guy, or will they try to sign a guy, or will they just bring back Kirk Cousins? So I'm going to give you guys my top 5 options for the Vikings quarterback position next year. But I do want to start off with this. The Vikings currently do hold the 12th overall pick in this upcoming draft, which is a good thing. You know, obviously, losing 3 in a row and all games being almost in heartbreaking fashion, obviously getting blown out by the Packers on Sunday Night Football wasn't fun. But positive note, the Vikings got a top 12 pick. And if they want to go get their franchise guy, go get their quarterback, it is going to make it a lot easier. But we'll get into 3 guys in the draft here in a second. But I do want to start off with my number 1 QB target for the Minnesota Vikings, and that is the already quarterback for the Minnesota Vikings, and that is Kirk Cousins. I think there is a high % chance that Kirk is QB1 next season, mainly because the fact that I just think grass may always be greener for Minnesota. We're getting to that here in a second, but also how sweet was this in the Sunday Night Football game? Kirk was bowling the Gallahorn shirtless. He had his kid there too. He took his shirt off. The crowd went nuts, and you really saw the support that Minnesota has from him. And if you guys also saw, there was a clip. Kirk Cousins, he went back to visit a high school in Minnesota. He walked in during the pep rally, and the crowd absolutely exploded. Like, the fans have his back. I think the players have his back. We've heard Jefferson talk about it, how he wants Kirk back. So that's why I'm putting it as 99% chance Kirk is QB1 during week 1. And we know this season, Kirk was absolutely dominant when he was playing. I mean, he was 18 touchdowns, the 5 interceptions, 213 out of 311 passes completed, 2 passes attempted, just over 2,300 yards. PFF graded him out very, very well, and he had a passer rating of 103.8. And this gets me to this point. The grass isn't always greener. I know we want to go find that Patrick Mahomes, that Josh Allen, that Justin Herbert, but appreciate what you have. You have a borderline top 10 quarterback where if you put the right system around him, put the right weapons around him, he can go win a ton of games. This was a Vikings team that beat the Niners at home, and then the next week they went out and blew out the Packers team on the road. Then obviously we know Kirk went down with that torn Achilles, but I continuously think back to that one play. Jordan Addison in the slot. He beats Jair Alexander up the seam. Kirk drops a beautiful ball. Vikings go up 24-3, and I'm sitting there thinking, this team has enough talent. This team has enough just overall continuity and just overall vibe to them where they could go win a Super Bowl this season. Obviously, that ended up not being the case, but grass isn't always greener. And also, you don't want to make Justin Jefferson mad. Let's just say you go draft a quarterback, he doesn't work out, and Jefferson's sitting there being like, you guys don't have a quarterback to get me the football. Grass isn't always greener. I would keep Kirk, but I'll toss it to you guys. Do you want Kirk Cousins back as QB1 next season? Give me a Y for yes, or give me an F for no down in the comment section. I'll make this the pinned comment on today's show. So if YouTube throws you an ad break right now, sit back, let it play, and let me know your thoughts in the comments. Number 2 for me is the Michigan quarterback, J.J. McCarthy. And listen, there are other guys we're going to talk about, Michael Penix, Jaden Daniels here, who are probably higher up on my board. But most likely, I do think it could be J.J. at that 12th overall pick, mainly because you're not going to have to go trade up for him. Vikings are obviously limited on draft capital this year. But J.J., he would be a great option at 12. And all he does is win in college, man. And he won yesterday against Alabama. And, there was this whole argument about, like, oh, he's in a run-heavy offense. They don't trust him. How are we going to take a quarterback in the first round when they don't even let him throw in the second half? Well, he was dealing with a high ankle sprain for a lot of the last month of the season. He got healthy, and he did this against Alabama. 221 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, just really being a commander of that offense. And I don't think J.J. could be an elevator by any means, but I do think J.J., if you put the right system around him, he's probably one of my favorite options in this draft. It's just a quarterback who can run the offense and then just overall just kind of be a commander there. And all he does is win. I mean, the dude just does not lose. The only time he's lost was to TCU as a starter. Beat Ohio State. He has the best winning percentage as a Big Ten quarterback in history, frankly. Just surpassed Justin Fields. All he does is win. I think he would be a tremendous option at 12. That's why I got him number 2. But before we get into 3 more options, I do want to give a big-time shout-out to today's sponsor on Vikings Now, and that is PrizePicks. If you guys head to prizepicks.com/CLNS and use that promo code CLNS, you're going to get a first deposit match up to $100. There's some NBA games tonight. This is a lineup I cooked up. I'm going more than Kobe White, 32.5 points, rebounds, and assists for the Chicago Bulls. He's been playing great as of late, so I'm going to ride the hot hand there. And then also Tyrese Maxey. He's been having an unreal year for Philadelphia. I'm going to go more than 36.5 points, rebounds, and assists for him. If you guys want to fade my picks or ride with my picks, do it at PrizePicks. And head to prizepicks.com/CLNS. Use that promo code CLNS. They're going to give you a first deposit match up to $100. Link for that in the comment section and description of today's show. Number 3 for me, and man, the dude absolutely tore it up last night. That was one of the better QB throwing performances I have seen in recent memory, and that's Michael Penix Jr., the quarterback for Washington, who absolutely cooked Texas yesterday, going for over 430 yards, 76.3% completion percentage, and 2 touchdowns, and really just being the engine of that offense. I mean, he makes everything work over there, and he just has a tremendous arm. And that's the thing I noticed yesterday was, you could have made the argument, he's throwing to a bunch of great first-round wide receivers, but I saw the arm talent yesterday. You really saw that come to fruition where he was making just big-time throw after big-time throw, and the touchdown he had where he dropped it in the pocket of 2 guys was just absolutely unreal. I think Michael Penix is the real deal, and I think he's going to work out, and that's why the Vikings are in, they're in a good spot if they do want to go draft a guy, because there are 5 to 6 quarterbacks in this year's draft that I would love the Vikings to take. It is a loaded year. They're sitting at 12 right now. Maybe Penix falls to 12. I don't really think so. I think you would have to trade up into the top 10 and go get him, especially after the performance yesterday. But Penix, he would be a hell of an option. Number 4 for me is this kid out of LSU, the Heisman, Jaden Daniels. And Jaden Daniels is a very, I'm going to say he's a boomer bust prospect. Like, he's got all types of talent in the world. Like, he reminds me of Lamar Jackson. You guys will hear that comparison all the time back when he was at Louisville. But Jaden Daniels, the thing I love the most about his game is we saw the growth from year 1 to year 2 at LSU. I mean, this past season, when he won the Heisman, throwing for 40 touchdowns to 4 interceptions, up that from 17 touchdowns and 3 interceptions the year before, throwing for almost 1,000 more yards, raising his completion percentage up by 4%, and then the yards per attempt. Obviously, it helps this past year when he's throwing the Malik Neighbors and all, but, I mean, he is just absolutely balling out, man, and I think he would be a great quarterback for Kevin O'Connell to kind of groom. And we talk about the support system the Vikings could give a young quarterback. Franchise left tackle, franchise right tackle, franchise tight end, franchise wide receiver. It would make it a lot easier for a guy to walk into that spot and really develop his game. So Jaden Daniels, probably have to trade up in the top 5 to go get him. But if he somehow lands in Minnesota and he continues to wear that purple and gold, man, I would be absolutely jumping for joy if that would happen. But out of these 3 guys that we just talked about, the 3 college quarterbacks that I think are most likely to be drafted by the Vikings, if they're taking anybody, would be JJ, Michael Penix, Jaden Daniels. Type JJ for JJ McCarthy, MP for Michael Penix, or give me a JD for Jaden McDaniels. Now, this is a fun one here. Justin Fields. We obviously know the Bears are in a tough spot. They do have the number 1 overall pick. They're debating in the front office to either stick with Justin Fields and build around him or move off him and draft a phenomenal, generational talent in Caleb Williams. However, I do fully expect the Bears to keep Fields. I think with the way he's been playing over the past couple of weeks, I do think he's going to stay in Chicago, and I think that will probably be the right decision for them. I think the locker room's behind him. Obviously, you got the fan base behind him, and I think it would just be a really all-in move for Ryan Poles in that front office to go get and draft Caleb Williams, and you could just draft another Ohio State guy in Marvin Harrison and build around Fields. But also, if they were to move off Fields, he's not going to get traded in the division. Could you imagine the agony Bears fans would be going through if you traded Fields to the Vikings and he ends up being an MVP or wins divisions for them? Like, I just don't think that's going to happen for the Bears. Obviously, Kwesi has not shied away from trading in the division, but I really doubt that Ryan Poles would send that guy right there, Justin Fields, in Minnesota. And the biggest reason why I do think the Bears are going to keep him is because Fields has been absolutely balling out over the past couple of games and, frankly, this whole season. I mean, you guys see his stats right here. I mean, throwing for over 2,400 yards in 12 games. And, he's got that all-time athletic ability. He's probably the most athletic quarterback in the National Football League right now. And, he's been an absolute baller, and I'm really starting to turn my head on Fields. Obviously, he needs to, get better at just hitting the simple stuff, hitting like the simple 5-yard outs and, all that part of the game, but he's got the all-time talent. That's why I think Fields is number 5 for me for my QB targets. But like I said, I do think it's 99% chance it is going to be Kirk Cousins, so that's why I do have him, number 1 on this list. But number 2 for me, just because you wouldn't have to trade up, I would put JJ, 3 Michael Penix, 4 Jaden Daniels, and 5 Justin Fields. Those are my top 5 QB targets heading into next season. It's going to be interesting to see what the Vikings do. But that's why you guys do hit that subscribe button, because there is going to be either a Kirk extension or they're going to move off Kirk, whatever it may be. We will have a video for you guys ASAP. So hit that sub button. See you guys next time. Skol Vikes.